Now that we've covered the basics of what the information in a WSDL file means and how it can be customized, I'm going to demonstrate in this video what it takes to add new methods to a WSDL file manually. As before, we're going to start with a template WSDL file based on the web service created in Chapter 1 Video 4. So if you skip Chapter 1, you can download that file from the exercise files for Chapter 1 Video 4. Extracting the pre-made WSDL file from a Glassfish server is easy. Just open it up in your internet browser as before, right-click anywhere, and choose Save Target As. This will allow you to save it as an XML file. Once the XML file is ready, there are a number of different ways to open it for editing. As it is technically a plain text file, in theory you could just open it in a simple text editor like Notepad and edit it there. However, there are a number of useful programs that make XML editing much easier. For Windows, the program that I'll be using is called Notepad++. It can be downloaded for free from the URL shown. For Macs, the easiest program to use is Text Wrangler. Also free, it can be downloaded from this URL. Both of these programs support XML files by explicitly marking and delineating various tags, checking to make sure tags are properly closed, and so on. Now I'll just navigate to the desktop, right-click on Hello World Service.xml, and choose Edit with Notepad++. Once the XML file is open, it should look very similar to what was displayed in your internet browser. Now let's add in a new method entry, which I'll call Report Time. To add in a new method, I can basically just duplicate all of the entries for an existing method and then change their names. This is much easier than trying to remember all of the different entries individually. First, we need the message tags. Select two message tags for any of the other methods. In this case, I've selected constructor, and then copy them and paste the copy here. Names can then be added to these message tags in the same format as above. So in place of the constructor name, I would put report time. And the same goes for the response tag, as long as I'm careful to maintain the extra response at the end. The next step is to add operations within the port type tag. At the bottom of the final port type operation tag, we can copy and paste one of the other operations, and then change the names to report time. As before, we're looking for all of the instances of the operation name. So we change the name here, and then we change both the input and the output. Be careful to make sure that you change both the messages, which I've changed here, and the URLs, which are changed down here. It's easy to forget and leave just the message changed or just the URL changed without changing the other one. Also notice that for the port type, you have to put a request moniker after the name in both cases. Finally, you need to specify the SOAP binding for this method. As before, you can go under the Binding tab and copy and paste the operation corresponding to another method. In this case, I'm copying and pasting the operation for constructor again. Once this is done, we change the name as before, and we can now consider whether or not we need to change any of the other parts of this operation. If you need different binding styles for this method, you can specify them here, but for now, we'll continue to use the literal binding. Generally, encoded binding styles add extra overhead that slows down message transmission, so they should be avoided unless there is a specific reason to use encoding. The only thing that needs to be changed then is the operation name. As you can see, inserting a new method into a WSDL file is much less intimidating than it might seem at first. A WSDL file is essentially an outline of the program that you are going to create. Specifically, it's the outline that all of the users will see. With this in mind, a common method of programming is actually to customize the WSDL with all of your various methods and classes first, and only then write the actual code. This ensures that your focus stays on what the consumer will see. It's essentially the equivalent of creating an outline before writing a book or a script before writing a movie.